Hello, we're here to discuss the Good Practice Guide 4 version 3 released by FPA Australia relating to fire safety statements and how the assessors need to deal with it. It tells us about how fire safety assessment must take place for the purpose of issuing annual fire safety statements because it's been inconsistently interpreted to date by many of the practitioners around the industry. When I was on the board of FPA Australia up until 2023, I played a part in getting the legal opinion that underpins this Good Practice Guide, so I know a little about the subject. The key change in this Good Practice Guide is about the physical attendance to site by the assessor. It always was required, but it wasn't always as clear as it should have been. This one here will really identify when you need to go to site relating to defects that were identified at the first assessment, and when the practitioner must re-attend. And this version, based on a robust legal opinion, makes it perfectly clear that there are no circumstances where a practitioner does not physically attend site for the assessment. And it makes it very clear that they are 100% responsible for the assessment of all parts of all measures that they are endorsing. However, it does clarify that for repetitively tested measures, for example extinguishers, they may complete a risk assessment to allow them to assess a percentage of the total and perhaps rely on the AS 1851 testing results for the remainder of those if they are identical and the risk assessment shows it to be reasonable. So this means that the assessor may choose to not personally assess all the measures, but they still remain wholly responsible for all of them that they're endorsing. The next part that the GPG, the Good Practice Guide, clarifies is when re-attendance is required, and this is the one that's been really not well interpreted up to date. And so the key trigger for re-attendance is where a fault, a failure or a defect is identified at the initial assessment and it needs to be repaired. And if that thing affects performance, you must re-attend in some way, shape or form to reassess the performance. And the other reason we may need to re-attend is where issues are found with the paths of egress in the building in terms of are there locked doors, are there things blocking the pathways and the like. And so the answer to whether re-attendance is required can be split into two distinct conditions. If the paths of egress are impacted and do not meet the requirements of legislation at the initial assessment, the practitioner must re-attend to check that it now actually performs. So there are no grounds for the practitioner not to re-attend if there were issues with paths of egress. Any other measure that did not perform the initial assessment, physical re-attendance is still required to confirm performance is now acceptable. However, for measures where performance can be proven via other means, the practitioner may choose to conduct that reassessment via review of photos, videos, testing records and the like. However, they still must be able to prove on an audit by the accreditation body that it 100% performed on the day assessed. And so what it means practically is that re-attendance after minor repairs, for example an extinguisher replacement, exit light replacement, signage installs, etc., when completed by a trusted individual, e.g. someone you've worked with previously and you've seen their work and you trust what they can do and can prove it from the historical relationship with them, then you may be able to reassess without a costly re-attendance. However, repairs completed by other contractors are unlikely to be trusted because you don't know who they are, you don't know their performance, and you don't have the trust to the level required to justify your non-physical re-attendance to site. And so, just a reminder, decisions made on all of these things are the accredited practitioner's individual decision. They're not the company's, they are the practitioner's decision because it's their risk. It's their accreditation, and therefore their ability to work in the industry can be impacted if the audit proved them to do the wrong thing. And so it's their job to make sure performance of your essential fire safety measure is proven on the day. If you'd like further info on this complex subject, get in contact with any one of the 2020 Fire team. They'll be able to explain it in greater detail. And if you'd like a copy of the full Good Practice Guide, please get in contact with your account manager. And thank you for listening. Get the trusted experts, 2020 Fire, on all your other properties, and we'll help you through this complex process. Thank you.